It's Dennis Green, and it's my pleasure to welcome to the KCCK studio. Well, welcome back one longtime friend, and welcome a new friend. It's a great pleasure to have in studio Emil Viklicky. Emil, welcome.
Thank you very much for the invitation.
And Jan Smigmator.
Thank you for having us.
Great to have you both here. For some of us, remember, Emil has been something of a regular fixture occasionally in eastern Iowa. Both Emil and Jan are from the Czech Republic. Emil has been one of the Czech Republic's most important jazz musicians, pianist and composer for some decades. They are here in eastern Iowa today because they're going to be performing tonight at the National Czech and Slovak Museum and Library at 7:30 with a program that we'll talk about a little bit more as we get closer in. But if you want to hear some great music from the Great American Songbook, the National Czech Museum is a place to be tonight. And that will be coming up at 7:30, and tickets are still available. Emil, I want to start with you. So we're trying to figure out when the last time was you were at KCCK. It may have been pre-flood, which would have been about 16 years ago. No, but I think you've been here before then.
Pre-flood pianist.
Yeah, the pre-flood, yes.
Pre-flood piano player.
But you have, over your career, you've worked with jazz at Lincoln Center. You did an album with Marcus Printup. You've got some new stuff coming out. Those who are watching the video, I've got the albums on display of the new material as well. So, Emil, let's just start with tell me how is the jazz scene in the Czech Republic these days? Lean in a little closer to the mic, if you would.
Jazz scene is blossoming, I would say, because we have a lot of jazz clubs running every day in Prague. I don't know how many, 5, 6, maybe 7.
5, 6 jazz clubs. Yeah.
Every day.
Wow.
And that means this is very good for young players because they can, we are not married yet, so they can play in different jazz clubs, and they have a practical playing in all kind of situation. So it's, I mean, if you compare it like in, I played it some years ago in Australia, and there's one jazz club in Sydney, and in Prague you have at least 7, and every day. So for young musicians, like bass players, they can play even twice a day. Yeah. Like Jazz Dog has 2 shows, one show from 7 and second show from 10.
Lots of opportunities to play, but also lots of opportunities for young musicians to hear good jazz.
Oh, yes.
So it is a very rich environment.
Yeah, both ways.
Well, and speaking of that, Jan, so you're a young man growing up in the Czech Republic and obviously interested in music. And I know that you sing almost exclusively standards from the Great American Songbook, yeah?
Yeah, mainly standards.
Yeah.
For my money, it's the best music ever.
Well,
I love Gershwins, I love Cole Porter, Irving Berlin, and all these amazing guys and their music. And it's a funny coincidence because Emil is one of the first jazz musicians I ever heard in my life, because
you must be kidding.
No. My father used to organize jazz festival in our part of Czech Republic, Czech Moravian Highlands, close to wonderful historical city of Telč, and Emil came to the castle in 2085, I think, and my mother was pregnant that time.
No,
and 1985. And my mother was pregnant that time, and I heard him through her belly, probably.
In utero.
Yeah. There was this Scott Robinson.
Yeah.
Oh, so it was Scott Robinson playing with me.
Yeah.
Oh,
and it was so important to me.
Well, so I was gonna ask how you got exposed to the music, but you have literally been exposed since before birth.
And then when I was 10 years old, I said to myself, I have to be a jazz singer. I love this kind of music, and yeah.
And we know that jazz is, for all that it's an American form of music, it has one of its most welcoming homes in Europe, and particularly in the Czech Republic with all your jazz clubs. But I'm also guessing, Jan, that when you were growing up and you're 10 and you said, I want to be a jazz singer and sing American standards, that your friends were going, you want a what?
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
I was a crazy kid. I was a crazy kid because of this kind of music. I was still listening Tony Bennett and Sinatra and Ella and Joe Williams and all these wonderful singers, and it was this is my way. Yeah. This is my way.
And then as time went on, I know you took the opportunity to reach out to write letters and stuff to musicians that were still living that you admired, and this was how you got hooked up with the great Marilyn May.
Yeah. I met her in 2019 when I was in New York for the first time, and we had a gig there. It was some beneficial concert for Amy Winehouse Foundation. We made an album with Mitch Winehouse, Amy's father, and the same night Marilyn May had a show at 54 Below, and I wasn't able to visit her show. But I found out that she is doing masterclasses for singers, and I decided to write an email to her or to her assistant, and they invited me for a masterclass, and I went there. I don't know at the end of 2019, and we became friends. It was so magical to spend the first moments with her in one room in one club in New York and to talk about music and life, and it was something really important to me.
And then a few years later, so this is 2019, just 4 years later, and of course that's with the COVID pause in there as well, you made your debut at Carnegie Hall.
Yeah.
And that is, by anyone's standards, that is some fast progression. So you obviously impressed the right people.
It was. I had a wonderful band at Carnegie Hall. I had my pianist and my Hammond organ player, and the rest of the band was composed by the musicians of Tony Bennett Quartet, Harold Jones on drums and Gray Sargent on guitar, Marshall Wood on big bass, plus their friend Scott Hamilton,
with whom you have done an album.
Yeah, exactly.
So this was how did you get together with Scott?
It was in 2018 when we were recording an album with Mitch Winehouse, and I was it was through Marshall Wood, the bass player of Tony Bennett. He put us together, and we made a record with Scott, just few tracks, and then when I got the date at Carnegie Hall, I asked him to be there with me as well, and Scott is one of the best saxophonists of all time and my favorite tenor player ever.
Yeah, ours too, definitely. Yeah. And so then you made this album with him, and this is on Universal Music, and you've just recently signed to Universal. So a major label in the the European division, but I'm sure that means we'll be getting your recordings here in the States. Sure hope so.
It's a big step for my career, and the collaboration with Scott was truly magical. We were recording all together in studio as in old times, and I think the atmosphere and the energy between us, it's there.
You can hear it on the album.
Let's check it.
Two tenors,
yes.
Two tenors. The title of the album.
That's
Two tenors.
So with your, in your normal program, do you do anything besides American standards? Do you dive into anything else in the course of a show?
I'm doing mainly American standards, and time to time I'm doing my own stuff. I'm writing lyrics in Czech and time to time in English, but I'm a specialist for Great American Songbook in our country.
One of the things, Emil, as I've enjoyed your music over the years, is like any good musician, you take the music that you knew growing up and incorporate that into your jazz. And in your case, I've always enjoyed the songs that you've done that are inspired by Moravian folk tunes and tunes, obviously that are familiar from the Czech Republic. And I'm guessing you've continued to do that as your career has gone on too, in your writing and composing?
Certainly I do, yeah. And the funny thing, because Jan just reminded me, I was around 10 when the student of my father. My father teacher, the university drawer. He was wanted to be painter or whatever. Then he brought saxophone in my home. He was 20, I was 10. I said, hey, Emil, you go to music school. You don't have to play all these, you don't need them notes. Look, this is a blues, F, B7. And all of a sudden I start, this is much better than in music school. He said, I'll be practicing, because he wanted to be Jerry Mulligan. So this is how I got hooked in that. And then I was listening to radio, and I could hear like big bands, and the piano plays kind of like a free floating. I said, that's what I want to do. And I guessed in that young age that piano player is not tied with notes, that he has some kind of free space. There's a guitar, there's Freddie Green, drummer. I said, piano player is making. So this is how I got to that. Then, of course, I realized that there's a lot of musicians who can play American books. So I was trying to find something else, and that something else is folk music of, you said Czech, but it's the folk music of Moravia, basically, and Moravian Slovak border. Yeah. So I still continue doing it. I couldn't bring you my absolutely very, very last double vinyl album. It's also on CDs, because I'm with a Japanese company Venus Records, and it's my 4th record with Venus. But you can find it on Spotify or all other CDs, and it's called Moravian Rhapsody. It's just my trio: Peter Dvorsky, Jirka Stivin, and it's very well recorded. And the story behind this is absolutely fantastic. We played in 2023. We played in Tamagawa Hall in Tokyo, and my publisher bring Japanese writer Haruki Murakami. Haruki Murakami he was to all my I've been in Japan 5 or 6 times, and he was at all my concerts. I was sitting in first row, And after the concert, the publisher said, Emil, I like it. Can we record it? So we did. And it's out now.
So that's your most recent release.
Yeah, and on the cover we have endorsement by Haruki Murakami. So it's beautiful. So I'm happy about it very much.
So what is next in the wings for the two of you? Jan, what's your next project after this?
I just started to work on my 40th birthday, and I'm preparing a new album with international group of musicians, with Ondřej Pivec on Hammond organ, and he's a member of Gregory Porter's band. And we are preparing something with Ruben Blades.
Love Ruben Blades.
In New York, and with his wife Luba Mason. And I hope I will record something with Marilyn. We are talking about it for
She is still
many
singing
years.
and performing at 96.
Yeah, she's still singing.
Yeah.
97.
97.
Yeah.
97.
Yeah. She
just
celebrated
turned
97 last week. And we will see, and I'm preparing a big concert in one arena in Czech Republic. We wanted to bring this kind of music to big hall for almost 3,000 people. And still something to do.
And you also host a radio show in the Czech Republic. You have your own show.
For 15 years.
So you are colleagues,
Yeah, we are colleagues. Yeah. It's a Czech national radio station number 2. And every Saturday I'm presenting with my colleague, wonderful singer Dasha. We are presenting mainly Great American Songbook and all the singers from old times and some contemporary singers. And yeah, I love it. And it's what is the best thing on it? I have to listen music almost every day, and I love to listening music every day.
What a terrible job we have.
I'm sitting. I'm
envy you guys.
I'm sitting in my living room with my earphones, and my wife asking me something, and I'm saying always to her, Katerina, I'm listening music for the radio. I'm preparing the scenario.
I'm liking here. I'm liking. Emil, what's your next project?
My next project, we haven't spoken about this project with Imogen Ryle. This is English singer and writer. And It was recorded in London, and Imogen wrote all these lyrics, and I'm very happy about it because it went on English company called Rubicon Records. Rubicon is a company, they do mostly classics, but Julian Nicholas, a saxophone player on that, overspeak them to do some jazz. So it's one of the projects. So we aim to do like songs number 2.
Well, Ron is going to feature some of this as we close out our interview. But I want to again invite everyone to come to your concert tonight, which is at the National Czech and Slovak Museum and Library. We had a little preview at a meeting I was at with you two earlier today. So we've warmed up the piano already. It's tuned and ready to go. Sounds great. It was wonderful getting to hear you sing a little bit, Jan and Emil. So nice to hear you play again in Iowa after a few years, and looking forward very much to the show tonight. Again, the National Czech and Slovak Museum and Library. Tickets will be available at the door. Doors open at 7. The concert starts at 7:30. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for the invitation.